Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons, rap beefs, and specifically what role mental health issues should or should not play in rap beefs. All right, let's get into it. And then, also how you would actually explore mental health issues in a conflict environment within your Dungeons and Dragons game, and do that in a way that allows players to explore the very real issue of mental health issues when they show up in an environment where they're not expected, right? And how people should be communicating that they have mental health issues, and maybe what are not the most ideal ways to communicate that you have mental health issues and you're not ready for conflict at the moment. All right, so that's the theme. All right, so let's get into this. The reason we're talking about this is the rap beef that exploded last week onto the scene between Kanye West, all right, who I will refer to in this video as Yeezy, Yay, Kanye. Okay, so I might refer to him as any of those three because they're all his monikers. Okay. And then also Drake exploded between Yeezy and Drake. And Drake is just Drake because Drake's Drake, right? Okay. All right. So what happened last week? One of the most stunning, staggering things I've ever seen happen in the rap game happened last week. I have witnessed a lot of rap beefs, over the years. There's some really classic ones. And rap beef, and beef between two rappers is a major part of the industry, and it's an element of that music style. It actually is incorporated directly into the music itself through diss tracks. Rap beefs are classic American element of rap, okay? But last week, I saw something happen in a rap beef that I have never seen happen before. And when I witnessed the whole thing, first I have to admit, I was a little confused. I had to research the subject, determine the timeline, and when I understood what would happen, immediately it brought into my mind, this is a strong narrative for a Dungeons & Dragons game, specifically for a skilled veteran game master. I'm trying to put this warning on, I just watched yesterday, I watched Jim Kana and Kevin Block. He has these Hoonigan cars, and they do a lot of crazy hooning on the streets, right? But I'm going to give this warning. Absolutely no dungeon master should be exploring what I'm going to talk about right now. This does not belong in any dungeon master's game that has dungeon mastered less than 5 years. You definitely, in order to attempt what I'm going to be talking about today, you absolutely need 50 to 100 games under your belt. You have to have tried 5 to 10 different game systems. You have to have explored player agency. You have got to know what you're doing. This is the deep end of the pool, folks. If you're new, do not attempt this. All of this content is for skilled veteran game masters. Okay, with that, let's proceed. All right. So Kanye and Yeezy and Drake, all right? So here's what happens. Drake throws shade at Yeezy's shoes, his Adidas 350s, right? So in a song, Drake insults Yeezy's Adidas 350s, which is Kanye West's branded shoe, right? Branded sneaker, right? All right. That is now throwing shade at somebody else's shoe is classic rap beef move, okay? Then Kanye West comes back with a classic rap beef move, which is a tweet storm. Literally 100 tweets at just dragging Drake, right? Saying, you stink generally. Overall, that's what he's saying, right? So Kanye goes on a tear on Twitter, right? Just dragging Drake. All right. Classic. Kanye comes back with a classic rap beef move of his own. All right. Then this is where this gets really interesting. All right. By the way, I researched this subject, and these are the high points of this entire conflict. There were a lot of things that happened. These are the most important elements of what happened between these two. And this is my interpretation of what happened, because it's incredibly complicated. There was a lot of coverage. I read all the different, tweets back and forth, Instagram posts, all that kind of thing. But different people have different opinions on what actually happened. This is from my research and my coverage of the situation. This is what what the narrative I think came out of these are the most important events in this series of events, in this rap beef between Kanye and Drake. All right, so with that, here's what happens, right? This gets where it gets really good. So Drake says your shoes stink. Kanye comes back, drags Drake on Twitter, and then Drake does something which is flawless, right? Just pure rap beef decimation, right, of Kanye, right? So Drake just claps back at Kanye, decimates him, right? And here's how he does it. So you have Kanye spouting all this stuff on Twitter, a whole lot of words, right? Drake doesn't use a single word. He goes on Instagram, he posts five laughing emoji icon of 5 crying laughing emojis on a black background on Instagram. And it's an image of those, right? Now, this is decimating. Why is this decimating? He hasn't used a single. Well, one, the fact that Drake comes back at Kanye and just laughs at him, right? He uses emojis on Instagram. So he's saying, hey, old man, you're still on Twitter? I'm over here doing my thing on Instagram where all the young people are. Oh, hey, old man, you used a whole lot of words there. I'm going to insult you deeply, fundamentally, right? That you are laughable with 5 emojis. Again, communicating, I'm young, you're old. I'm relevant, you're done, right? In 5 simple laughing, crying emojis, Drake decimates Kanye, right? I think this is a mic drop move in the rap beef, right? Now, here's where it gets even more interesting, right? Kanye's spinning. Now, Kanye's a really smart guy, in my opinion, right? And he gets that he's just been served. Like, this rap beef is essentially done, right? So everybody's wondering, okay, what does Kanye do now? Because everybody in, witnessing this thing is like, oh no, Drake just completely decimated you in this rap beef, right? So Kanye comes back and does something I have never, ever seen. And he puts out a tweet that says, essentially, it says, you're disrespectful to me because I have mental health issues. You can't rap beef this hard with me, right? So essentially, Kanye, in a very, and all of Kanye's tweets are difficult to read because, they don't really embrace it's rap beef language. That's the best way to put it, okay? All right. So, at this point, Kanye has essentially said, hey, you can't rap beef this hard with me because I have mental health issues. I'm dealing with mental health issues. And my eyes was like, wait, what? What just happened? Wait, what? Now here's the issue, okay? Mental health issues are a major, what's the right word here? They are a main topic of discussion today, right? And people are saying, okay, people are having mental health issues. We have a better understanding of mental health, of recognizing that people are dealing with mental health issues today. I'm not sure we have any better ways of addressing them today than we ever did, but we certainly can recognize it a lot more easily than we ever did before. And so people are saying, what's the best way to deal with mental health issues when people who are in the public square are communicating that they have mental health issues directly, or are communicating through their actions and behaviors that they have mental health issues, right? Do we take their agency away from them and say, you're not part of this, you're not part of the equation anymore, you're not part of the discussion anymore, we need to treat you in a special way, right? Or, and you need to be removed from the overall public discourse until you are ready and capable of fully engaging in the public discourse, right? In the different public activities that are happening, right? Or do we make sure that we are inclusive and making sure that people who have mental health issues are being able to communicate the way everyone else is able to communicate at all times. You know, how do we manage this, right? So the Drake Yeezy rap beef brings this into question. Now I'm going to give my opinion on this, right? So one, I think that Kanye West had every right to bring up mental health issues and talk about them in the context of rap beef, of being a participant in a rap beef, and Kanye has every right to do that, and should and even is correct to do that, right? I think he's correct to bring up mental health and to discuss mental health issues in the context of them showing up in the middle of a rap beef, but he chose the wrong time to do it, right? And here's why. So basically, when he says, you can't rap beef this hard with me because I have mental health issues, he's just been decimated. He's been absolutely embarrassed, right? And when he brings up mental health issues then, right, at that time, when he's been absolutely decimated, when he has clearly lost the rap beef, then it looks like he's using mental health issues as a tool to dismiss the serving that he's just gotten from Drake, the complete defeat, the L he has taken, the L that Drake has given him, to dismiss the loss that Drake has given him. I think that's not cool. That's not correct, right? You can't use mental health issues as a way to dismiss losing. That is just not a good way to handle things, right? Now, the way I think Kanye should have addressed this is, what would have happened is, Drake insults Adidas 350s in his song, okay? Kanye then has the opportunity to come out and say, hey, Drake, I am suffering from mental health issues right now, right? I see that you're bringing up rap beef with me. Generally within the rap community, this is a compliment, and we can both benefit from this rap beef, which is as old as rap itself is. Both artists really getting upped by being in a rap beef, right? But the reality is, I'm having mental health issues right now, and I can't rap beef with you right now because I'm dealing with my mental health issues, right? Now, if Kanye had done this, it would have been really noble. It would have been, him saying, hey, let's all talk about mental health issues. And when we're in the public square, when there's public discourse going on, when there's public activity, let's talk about, how we graciously step back and tell people, I can't rap beef right now because I'm dealing with mental health issues, right? That would have been a really noble way to deal with this, right? And I think that would have been completely genuine and completely honest, and would have been really valuable, right? And then Kanye could have said, listen, go rap beef with 6ix9ine, go rap beef with Eminem, go rap beef with Kendrick Lamar. Those guys are really talented, and I'm sure you can have a strong, solid rap beef with them, but I can't rap beef right now. I have mental health issues that I'm dealing with, right? That would have been incredibly valuable to the community, to everything. There would have been political, cultural, and social value to that. But when you pull out the mental health issue card, when you have clearly just lost the rap beef, it looks like you're using the mental health issues as an excuse for you taking an L, right? And I think then Kanye does a disservice to mental health issues overall, because it looks like he's using them as a tool rather than genuinely expressing a need, all right? Now, all that's there, okay? How do we use this in Dungeons & Dragons to explore the same issues in a meaningful and winsome way? Well, I'm going to tell you, all right? So I have developed a narrative that you can use, an adventure hook that you can use in your next Dungeons & Dragons game that brings all the passion and all the interesting topics and a way to explore mental health issues in conflict when they're in the middle of a conflict, just the way we just saw with Drake and Yeezy. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so your PCs are traveling through a dark forest. They come across NPC Ernhelm. Ernhelm leads a band of brigands These brigands are in a forest, and they are equally dispersed between two major trade routes. And what they do is they do excursions out to the road, they steal from travelers, and they bring it back to their headquarters in the middle of the forest. Now, their headquarters is a mobile headquarters. It's just a bunch of wagons, right, where they have a whole bunch of horses. But they have like 25 crates worth of material that they've stolen from all these people, right? All right, so Ernhelm is these brigands that the PCs come across in the forest, right? The PCs actually see Ernhelm and his group before Ernhelm is able to see them, and they see all of his wealth, right? So Ernhelm, Ernhelm has his wealth in all these crates. It's all stolen. The PCs, but Ernhelm has not seen the PCs so far. The PCs are able to search the goods, right, at nighttime, right, and actually one of them uses Identify Magic and actually determines exactly where the magical items are actually are placed, right, and they're able to steal these magical bracers. As they escape, one of Ernhelm's brigands sees them, and there is a combat that occurs, right? The PCs wound or kill about 25% of Ernhelm's men, but they are actually Ernhelm's brigands, excuse me. It's a mixed group, of course. And so they then Ernhelm, they have essentially a running combat, but the PCs, knowing that they're outnumbered because Ernhelm's group is at least 40 brigands, right? So they run and they escape with these magical bracers. Now, these magical bracers are very magical, right? And what they do specifically is they have two magical functions. One is whatever any non-magical weapon, any bladed non-magical weapon that strikes a player character while they're wearing the bracers, all damage is reduced to 0 on the first strike within a single round. Excuse me. And then the second is a nested magical function, which will express itself. It expresses a new magical power every single season. So when the next season transitions, it will show a new magical power, but the Identify doesn't show what that magical power is. So this is a very powerful, very valuable magical item that was within Ernhelm's cache, okay? Ernhelm, so they escape, the player characters escape, and they go to a town, right? That is, a pretty good distance away. It's fairly close. It's within about 20, 30 miles of the place where they had left Ernhelm, right? So they go to this village, and they need to heal up, right? Excuse me, and they need to rest because this was a harrowing experience, right? So they come in, and they're going to spend some time in an inn, right? They come into the inn, and at that point, they go to the inn, and then they learn about this village, right? Well, yeah. So this village is town is a town that is essentially there because of these Grarfarkles. Grarfarkles are a unique creature, is a unique creature that lives in this area, okay? Grarfarkles are about the size of sheep, but they have 6 legs, and the axis of their legs is there's 2 legs, essentially they have a triaxle spine, right? So they have two legs coming out in 3 different directions, and they just kind of roll laterally, and then they can move forward on these 4 legs that are on the bottom, but then they roll laterally again, and there's 4 new legs, right? And their face is, they have 3 sets of eyes on their face, right? And 1 central mouth, right? Now, these Grarfarkles are very much like sheep, right? They're just herbivores. They don't really serve much purpose. But the Grarfarkle shepherds of this town are very rich, and the reason why is they raise these Grarfarkles, right? And the Grarfarkles live about 2 years. But when a Grarfarkle dies, by the way, this of course is completely my own unique creature. You will not find this in the monster manual anywhere. All right, so the Grarfarkle, when they die, they expel their heart. They actually spit it out. It's the last thing they do, right? If any living creature cradles the heart of a Garfarkel in their hand at the time when it's expelled, and it doesn't hit the ground, the heart ignites, right? And it burns very brightly and very hot, and it becomes stone-like. And so it's this burning stone that burns for the exact length of the life of the Garfarkel, right? And so these are very valuable, and what happens is you put them into a hearth in a home, and it can actually keep a home heated for for essentially 3 winters. These are very, very valuable, right? And so these are what the Garfarkel shepherds do, right? So the player characters come, they're at this inn, and they meet, and they're just convalescing, right? They're just kind of spinning down from their adventure, and they meet this Garfarkel shepherd who says nothing in the beginning of the evening, but then she gets drunk, and this Garfarkel shepherd, who is essentially like the leader of all the other Garfarkel shepherds, once she gets drunk, she starts talking, telling stories. She tells all these great jokes. She's very, and she's just wonderful to be around. She can tell the history of the town. The player characters are supposed to love her. You want to get the player characters to love her. She's like a bard, but with no music, right? And she's not really a bard. She's just this really sullen person that when she gets drunk becomes incredibly gregarious and tells all these awesome stories she knows and tells all these awesome jokes she knows, right? And the player characters are supposed to be really blessed by her company. So you want to make her a very charming person, okay? All right, so at this point, Ernhelm finds the PCs. He takes all of his his band of brigands, and they ride into town on horses. They all have torches, and they set fire to 6 homes in the town, right? And then they attack the inn directly, right? And there's a combat between the player characters and the Garfarkel shepherds, right? And some of the Garfarkel shepherds die. The player characters are wounded, and they cut down another 10 to 25% of the player characters and the Garfarkel shepherds. Garfarkel shepherds are terrible fighters, but basically the Garfarkel shepherds and the player characters fight Ernhelm's band of brigands, and the band of brigands then essentially lose 10 to 25% of their own brigands, right? And then at that point, Ernhelm, basically just having exacted revenge and gotten nothing, returns back into the forest, right? Well, immediately, you find out that the Garfarkel shepherd's leader, one of her home, where her husband is watching the children, is burning. So the player characters, and this should become immediately apparent to the player characters, that, the Garfarkel shepherd, she goes to help them, and then someone runs up and says, Garfarkel shepherd leader, your home is burning down, your husband and your children are in the house, we need to get them out, right? And the PCs, unless they're monsters, will go, and if you have monsters, as player characters, my sympathies to you. Some people do, I get it, right? Right. So your PCs are going to go help. They're going to be, hey, what's going on, man? We got to help you, right? And then they're going to help put out that fire, and then they're going to help put out the other fires, and then they're going to have to heal from the wounds they got. So it's going to be the morning before, now they're exhausted, right? But Ernhelm has struck them, and they're going to want to strike back. They're going to want to strike back that morning or that evening, and the whole town is going to be like, they're going to bring out a magical amulet, they're going to bring out healing potions, they're going to go like, we're equipping you to go get Ernhelm, and here's where you get the Yeezy Drake twist, right? So the player characters are ready to go deal with Ernhelm one final time, right? And get all of his loot and revenge this terrible thing they did against the town. But at that time, one of the brigands rides out, right, and literally has a pole, literally has a spear with a white, actually the spear tip has been taken off, so it's just a haft of a spear, and a white flag, and in one hand he's holding, he's on a horse, and in one hand he's holding the haft. This is one of Ernhelm's brigands, and he's holding the haft and the white flag, and the other he has a message, right? And he brings it up to the player characters, and he says, Ernhelm has a message for you. Here is Ernhelm's message, right? And the message is, it says right on the parchment, the scrolled parchment, it says, "This is Ernhelm. I know that we have had this conflict over the last few days. You stole from me. I came and struck the town, but a deep melancholy has come upon me, and I fear that a fugue that I've suffered from in the past is about to come. Please do not pursue me into the forest, for a deep melancholy has come upon me, and I fear that a fugue that has plagued me in the past is about to visit me again." Now, and that's it. That's all the message says, right? Now the player characters have the same issue Drake has. They're in the issue of Drake. They're like, okay, well, we can go really tear this, this villain a new one, right? Because this is an ongoing conflict. Or they can say, whoa, wait, this brigand leader, this villain, Kanye is not a villain. So that's one derivation that we're taking here. This person involved in a conflict, right? Because he could be a Robin Hood type. He's not, but all right. So, and you could adjust the story as you need to, right? All right. So you could say, hey, this villain is having mental health issues. Do we halt this conflict and have the conflict later when he's dealt with his mental health issues, and we honor the fact that he is communicating that he has mental health issues? Or do we go tear him a new one, kill the vast majority of the brigands, and kill Ernhelm and take all of Ernhelm's material, right? Like the way a traditional Dungeons & Dragons conflict would often end, right? Now, the player characters, they could be completely dismissive of this, but you're bringing up the issue right in the game of, hey, how do we deal with mental health issues in the middle of a conflict, right? And it opens up a genuine opportunity to discuss this, right? And then also, in addition to that, now, of course, it's not a perfect analogy for the Drake-Yeezy thing. Yeezy is not a villain, right? Nor is Drake. But, in D&D terms, you don't really have equal rivals often battling. It's just not the way it works in Dungeons & Dragons. So we're taking some liberty there, granted, right? But the other issue is if the player characters are like, hey, we ain't about that. We're going to go, wreck Ernhelm, take all his gear, and make sure that his brigand band is broken, right? Then, at that point, you can press upon the player characters one more time to explore this issue about mental health issues. How do you do it? Well, one, if you're very fortunate, one of your people will be a cleric. And at that point, the Garfarkle shepherd leader can come up and say, listen, you're a cleric. You are used to healing people's bodies. But now is a time for you to go in alone and attempt to heal the mind and the spirit, and lay down your sword and for once try to heal somebody's mind and spirit, right? And now, if there is not a cleric within your group, then you have a cleric come out of the town who lives in the town and says, hey, I think there's an opportunity, for one of you to go try to, bring me in, but don't bring any weapons. And we're going to go in, and I'm going to attempt to heal this man, Ernhelm's mind and spirit, right? Which again goes into this issue of human beings are wounded. We can be wounded in body, mind, and spirit. And it brings up this issue of mental health issues. And because the cleric's there, it even brings up the issue of spiritual health issues. That's way beyond our current culture. Nobody in our current culture is even talking about spiritual health issues, right? Not at the level of, what should be the role of spiritual health issues in rap beefs? We haven't even gotten to that question. But in your Dungeons & Dragons game, you are exploring the role of mental health issues in your game, mental health issues in conflict, and even spiritual health issues. That's my adventure hook based on the Drake-Yeezy rap beef. I would love to know your opinion on this subject. How should we be dealing with mental health issues in the middle of conflict? How can we properly, correctly explore this in a Dungeons & Dragons game? Please let me know. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful day.